What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming the eyeshadow palette tag. So I've seen a lot of people doing this. The first person I saw do it was Allie Glines, and then a lot of people followed through afterwards. I honestly think it's a really fun video to do. I really want to show you guys all of these different eyeshadow palettes, some of my old ones, my newest ones, my favorites, the ones that are really expensive, the ones that are really cheap. So anyway, guys, if you'd like to see a lot of my eyeshadow palettes in different categories, then keep watching this video. Anyway, guys, so I picked up the list from the eyeshadow palette tag on someone else's video, and I'm going to go through them right now. So I have everything laid out here in front of me. The first category is to show your newest eyeshadow palette. So this is the newest one that I have gotten. This is my newest eyeshadow palette that I have recently purchased, and I did show you guys in a video. This is the Colourpop Pressed Powder Miss Bliss palette. So here it is right here. I did a nice bright summery look with this palette and I really love it. The 9-pan eyeshadow palettes from Colourpop are some of my absolute favorites. They're so good. Colourpop comes out with new eyeshadow palettes all the freaking time, but they are really good. So I love this. I love these colors. I think they're perfect for the summertime. I've actually been loving this so far. It's such a great palette. The next category is show your oldest eyeshadow palette. So this is a little bit embarrassing because it's pretty disgusting looking and really messy. But I bought this like 4 or 5 years ago, back when I first started getting into makeup. Sephora was the only place that I went to because I was a psycho who didn't realize that you could buy makeup elsewhere. And I bought this. It's the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette, the original. So as you guys can see, I mean, if you can see, I dipped into this a lot. Naked 2 was my favorite shade. It was my absolute favorite. And years ago, I had no clue how to use darker shades, so I never used these two in the beginning. I would only use these 4 here, and it looked like I barely had anything on my eyes, so it was kind of pointless. But I used to just use it as like my everyday palette that I would go to all the time. This little tiny thing was 30 bucks at the time. I remember, I don't even know if you can still buy it. I don't think they have it anymore, but it was my first, it was my favorite. I loved the easy, simple shades. It was just like the best thing ever. Next is to show your most expensive palette. So it had to be 2 because they're the same exact price, but they're both Natasha Denona. So these guys here are $130 a piece. Yes, I purchased them with my own money. I remember I like returned a bunch of stuff at Sephora and I was like, I don't need anything else, but you know what? I can get a Natasha Denona palette for that money. So this was the first one that I got. It's the gold palette. It's my favorite one. I dip into this all the time. It's such a beautiful palette to use. There are so many beautiful shades. They're vibrant. They're out there. They're just gorgeous. And in my opinion, this is the best one there is. Well, I mean, I haven't tried all of them, so you know. Maybe not the best one that there is, but the best one to me because I've only tried like 3 or 4 of her palettes, but it's so good. It has like some of the most amazing shades, you guys. I mean, look how gorgeous these are. Perfect for a night out, perfect for a day in. I mean, you could use this for whatever. It's just, it's amazing. And then we also have the Sunset palette, which was a huge favorite, is a huge favorite of mine. I mean, the packaging is also gorgeous, by the way. This one I don't dip into as much because, I don't know, I don't find myself gravitating towards this one all the time, even though it's gorgeous and it's amazing for the summertime. I have to actually do more looks with this because I don't want these palettes to expire and then I never used them. They're expensive. This one I got with a gift card partially, so I only paid $30 for it out of pocket, so, you know, don't come at me and say that I spent all my money on makeup, because I didn't. Anyway. Such a great palette, beautiful shades. Once again, awesome shimmer shades, you guys. Like, these are shimmer shades like you will never believe. I've never tried anything like these before. They're so blendable, they're so easy. I love them. Next category is show your most affordable palette. This is the most affordable one I could find in my entire collection. It is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Rosé in the Air. I don't even know if I've used this that much. Maybe like twice. Like, I've never used it. I don't know. I never really got into these. They were really popular before I got into makeup and I wanted to try them out, but I don't know, I had another one. I tried it a lot and I didn't care for it. I really have to dip into this more because it has some really beautiful shades, and I've also heard that these formulas are actually really, really good for drugstore palettes. So I don't know why I haven't really dipped into it much, but yeah, this is the most affordable one. I believe it's about $5 or $6 online. Next category is show your everyday palette. So this is always the one that I go back to every single time. I can't seem to stop. There's another one that I use like constantly, but this is typically like the everyday easy palette. It's the Tarte Linen Bloom from Tarte. And I mean, it's just some really simple, easy shades that are just so good for beginners. They're good for anybody who's just looking for something to use every single day. It's just a great palette all around. I love the shades. They're so pretty. The shimmers are gorgeous. The mattes are very easy and blendable. I know some people hate this palette and some people love it. I don't know. They go back and forth, but I honestly really enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it, and I've always thought that it's such an easy palette to use. So it's really good, really good for every day. Has the basic neutral shades. So, and they always wind up putting these on sale at some point or another at Ulta. Next is to show your most colorful palette. So this one I never use because I don't really have colorful palettes, guys. It's very different for me to dip into a colorful palette. I never use anything colorful on my face. I'm just not really into it. I never feel like it looks good on me. I always feel like I look ridiculous. Maybe it's just because I don't work well with color. Maybe I have to put more effort into it and try more. I don't know. But this is the Tarte Pro Remix palette. I don't even think I've ever tried it, but it's very colorful. As you can see, there are tons of shades in here. Some of them are very metallic and they're gorgeous shades. I mean, I have used the shimmers before, I think. I have used the shimmers before, but not really many of the mattes. There's not even that many mattes in here. I think there's only 3, but I mean, these are really good palettes, honestly. Any of the Tarte Lit palettes, the Tartist palettes, they're very good palettes. I wouldn't say it's the most colorful palette in the world, but I think it's the most colorful one that I own. What can you do? I don't buy a lot of colorful palettes. I steer clear of them because I feel like I'm not going to do a good job with them. So the next category is to show your smallest palette. Here's the teeniest, tiniest little baby palette I got. This is the Glow Skin Beauty Rebel Angel Shadow Quad. And it's just these tiny little 4 shades. There's not much to it, you guys. It's a cute little eyeshadow palette. I do really like the shades. I think they're very pretty. So maybe it's one I should probably start using in the future. Who knows? But yeah, this is my tiniest little palette. Next is to show your largest palette. And here's the Gigunda thing. So this is the Violet Voss Pro Ride or Die palette. This thing's massive. It's huge. And it's got a lot of colors. This palette's gorgeous. I bought this on an impulse buy. It's a lot of money. It's like $75. I haven't actually used this palette either. So it just goes to show you how much of my makeup actually gets used. It's kind of sad. But yeah, this is the Gigunda thing that I can barely fit anywhere. I have to like stuff it in the back of my drawer, and that's why it never gets used, because I never see it. So okay, next is to show your palette with the best memory. Oh, I love this part. So this is the Urban Decay Naked Smokey Palette. I remember when I first started getting into makeup and I was so broke. I wanted to buy an eyeshadow palette so bad and I didn't have the money to buy one. I mean, they were so expensive. I wanted all of the Urban Decay palettes. The Naked palettes were like the thing when I first started getting into makeup, and I saw the Naked Smokey and I was like, I don't know if I'd be good at this, but I really want to buy it. So I saved up my money and I purchased this, and it was like the best moment of my life. I was so happy to get it. I still use this occasionally, even though it's madly expired, but it still works, honestly. When I'm going out, I'll use this palette to use some dark shades because I don't have very many like smoky palettes. Smoky was the thing back then. Everybody wanted to do the smoky eyeshadow look, and I used to do it all the time. It was my favorite thing. But now I feel like everybody's into the warm tones and shimmery looks, and some people really colorful. I feel like nobody goes into smoky anymore, but I still love it. and I still go back to this palette. So it was like the cutest thing. I don't think they even sell it anymore. It just makes me very sad because this palette brings back a lot of memories. I'll never get rid of it because it was one of the first big palettes that I purchased when I first started getting into makeup, and it was just exciting. I don't know, it was a fun time for me, discovering makeup and discovering what worked best for me and what I loved and didn't love. It was a nice time in my life. It was a nice time. So next category is to show a palette that is worth the hype. I did not purchase this palette for the longest time, and the reason why is because I didn't know if it was worth the hype. I didn't know if it was really a important thing to go purchase, but I changed my mind after a while because it went on sale online, and I was like, let me pick it up, let me try it out, let me see how it is. And it is the Huda, I always say this wrong. I always say Huda Booty by accident. Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. Okay, this is it. It is a gorgeous palette. I've tried this out for you guys on camera. It was a lot more worth the hype than I expected. I don't know why I thought that they would be overhyped before I purchased it. I don't know. It was never really a thing because they're so expensive. These are like $60 palettes, maybe even closer to $70. So I looked online when they had them on sale. They were like 40% off, and I was like, you know what? Let me try it out. Let me give it a purchase. Let me purchase it and see what happens. So I tried it for you guys on camera, and I remember raving about it and being like, wow, this palette's nice. I wasn't expecting it at all, but totally worth the hype, you guys. Totally worth the hype. Next category is a palette that's not worth the hype, and I feel like I'm gonna get crap for this because I don't know, I feel like so many people love these palettes, and I bought them a long time ago and did not like them. Was very surprised at the fact that I didn't like them either. They're the Iconic palettes from Marc Jacobs. I haven't used them in a long time. Maybe I should try them out again. I don't know. I just think they're really pretty looking, and that's why I keep them. But honestly, guys, when I purchased these, by the way, they're $50 a piece. $50. So I tried them both out. I used them both quite a few times. I gave them a shot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't get myself to love these palettes. I didn't think the shades blended that well. I don't know. It wasn't my thing. Like I said, they're pretty, so I'll keep them, and they were $50, so I'll keep them, and I'll probably just keep trying to work with them to see what I can do. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people really like these and think they're really great, but I didn't like them. I didn't like them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Next is to show your favorite palette from a favorite brand. A lot of you guys know I love Colourpop. Colourpop is honestly an awesome brand. I really enjoy it. They're very affordable, and they have really, really nice products. So, favorite palette from a favorite brand? This is the Kathleen Lights in Colourpop So Jaded palette. This one is just a favorite of mine. I love the color story in this. I just feel like there's so many different looks you can create with this palette, and honestly, Kathleen Lights has shown it all over her channel. She just always makes such beautiful looks, and they're all so different and they're all so unique. I love it. When she came out with this palette, I had to purchase it. It's a $40 palette, which isn't bad for how many shades you get at all. That's what I mean when I say it's very affordable. And I fell in love. I started using it and I fell in freaking love. It's so, so pretty, you guys. I mean, just, and they're very blendable, very good. They work so well on the eyes. I mean, if you watch Kathleen's channel, you'll see a ton of the looks that she does with this palette, and they're flawless. They're flawless. So I would highly recommend this palette. It's so nice. And the last category is to show your most used palette. So I kind of went back and forth between like the everyday palette and a most used one, because I use the Tartelette and Bloom one a lot, but I feel like the one I always go back to, that I go for constantly, is the Lorac Pro Original palette. So Lorac Pro palettes have not really been talked about much in quite a few years. They used to be very popular for a very long time, and then they kind of just like lost the hype after a while. I don't know why. I know that they're older. I know there's so many new things coming out and it's easy to get distracted by other new brands and new products, but guys, this palette, these palettes, the Pro palettes are so good in general, but the original one is my absolute favorite. It has the most gorgeous colors. I love how flexible it is and how thin it is. They're perfect if you're trying to stick them in a makeup bag and take them with you wherever you want. I mean, they have such beautiful neutral shades. You can use this for a nice everyday palette as well. Every time that I don't know what palette to use, I dip right back into this one again because it's just a gorgeous palette and the shimmers are so nice. I wouldn't say that they're the most out there and glowy shimmers I've ever seen. They definitely aren't, but I feel like it's just a really nice, easy palette to work with. When I want to work with a black shade, I always go to this black shade because it's so easy. I like the Natasha Denona black shade, but this one I feel like is even easier to use and it's even more blendable, and if you make a mistake, it's easy to blend it out so much that you can't see it nearly as much. So I just think that this is such a great palette. I always go back to it, always will go back to it. It's just one of my absolute favorites. I love it. So guys, those are my eyeshadow palettes of different categories. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it would be really fun to do because there are a lot of eyeshadow palettes I have that I never show on camera, and I'd like to use more of these in my videos. So if you saw any of the eyeshadow palettes today and you'd like to see me use them on camera, definitely let me know in the comments below. I will link as many of these in the description box below as much as I can. I'll see if I can find all of them. I know some of them are definitely not sold in stores anymore, so I'll try my best. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and also do not forget to subscribe if you haven't done that already. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!